Hey y'all, it's Patrick. Just reflecting a little bit on my time at Wild Goose, which was very challenging and inspiring. And one of the things that really sticks out to me was when one of the co-creators encouraged us to not take the human part out of human suffering. And what he was explaining, what he was illustrating in that moment was essentially talking about all of the ills in our world, all of the injustices, and in those that we shouldn't just reduce them to agenda items that we check off, or just things that we talk about every few weeks, but that we actually build relationships with the people most affected by the ills in our world. And for those of us, if you're like me, you're white, straight, cisgendered, come from a place of privilege, man, then you have to build relationships with those people most affected by white supremacy and misogyny, toxic masculinity, queerphobia, homophobia, transphobia, folks who don't have American citizenship or an American passport. It's very, very important that we get to know those folks most affected and build a relationship with them so that we can work alongside them for justice and freedom and peace. So that is what has challenged me the most as I go about my time serving as a pastor and as a citizen of this world, as I try to see God in everyone I meet and build relationships with those who are most affected by the sins in our world. I appreciate the opportunity to be at Wild Goose in the ways that it pushes me and challenges me every time. And I'm grateful for Evergreen for making it a priority.
Hey Evergreen, I wanted to tell you that my experience at Wild Goose this year was like going to a museum, seeing a beautiful piece of art, studying it, have experts come in and tell you all about the history and the symbology in this art, and then having someone come in, walk up to the painting and say, oh, it actually goes this way. And getting this whole new perspective on a piece of art like the Bible that I've been studying for a long time. So if you're interested in having a perspective that you didn't even think about before, it's a great place to have that. If you're interested in hearing stories that connect with you, that you've never found words for before, great place for that, and an amazing place to hear stories from people who you can't relate to, and you may never have heard their story face-to-face, personal, one-to-one before. So for that connection, come to Wild Goose.
Hey Evergreen, this is Catherine Hutchison, and it's Saturday night again. I'm home back in Memphis. Didn't get my video made at Wild Goose, but here I am missing it. Last Saturday night there were 12 of us gathered around 2 picnic tables having a fun dinner outside under some beautiful stars, listening to some great bluegrass music from next door, and talking about Wild Goose and what we've done and how our experience was. This is my 4th Wild Goose, just like Jim. I've been to 4 now, all been very different. This one, I think the main conversation I'll take away was a long conversation I had with a woman from Texas who was a counselor. She had been a Methodist minister, very hurt by the Methodist Church, picked herself up, went back to school, got a counseling degree, or social work, master's social work degree, and has a practice that started out mostly counseling people who had been injured by church or hurt by church, wounded by church. And now she really treats anyone with post-traumatic stress, PTSD. And we started talking about the people, not individuals she's seeing, but people that are going to really need a lot of care and love. People who have been working in medical care during COVID, teachers during COVID, ambulance drivers, police officers. So many of us have had hard surprises, hard moments to get through. And she made it clear that counseling will really help, and maybe we need to consider what we're going to provide and how we're going to provide it to help people get beyond the hurt of COVID. The other thing, I know I'm only supposed to say one thing I'm taking away, but the other thing I'm taking away is just an intense feeling of how magnificent the Evergreeners in our group were. I'm so constantly blown away by the poise and maturity and brains of the young people around me in this group, and how they can move with confidence and joy through the world. Now, the old people got that too, but I'm always surprised when I find it in young people. So that was what I took away from Wild Goose this year. It was really a great experience.
For me, the most important part of Wild Goose has been the connection. Getting reconnected with myself, with my church family, with other people, and thinking about how everything is connected in the wider picture.
Hey Evergreen, it's Mr. Corey. We're here at Wild Goose Festival 2021. This is my first year being at Wild Goose, and it's most definitely an amazing experience. Thank you guys for providing me with this experience. I've learned a great deal. I loved how they had sessions every hour. It's always something to do. It's a lot of musicians. You know, music is with my heart, so having all these musicians out here was very cool. I love the fact that they had food trucks as well. I love being with the Evergreen family, learning more about them, and just getting a different cultural experience that I've never gotten before. It's been really insightful, really fun. I've met new people. I became like the dance guy for silent disco and stuff, but it's been a really good experience, and I cannot wait until 2022. So thank you, and I love y'all.
It don't look like, okay. All right, it's like, we'll do it.
Wait, don't stand beside of me. Y'all do it together. Do it together.
All right, it's you did that on purpose. You did that on purpose.
I'll get a new one. I'll get some more.
Okay, all right, it's like taking a shot. Okay.
This is not a shot.
2, 3.
It's not that.
And then
I think. In my opinion. There you go.
Use a little cash.
well done. Try new things.
I like the way.
Ready? Rolling. At the Wild Goose Festival, I saw a mom, a dad, and then the dad had a kid on his shoulders. And they're walking around, kind of looking around, and the kid cries out, "I'm looking for my baby." And I had the thought, like, oh, kids lost their doll, a lot of good that's gonna do, you know? And then someone stood up and ran to them and had the baby doll in her hand. And the baby was reunited. So I'm pretty sure that that's what the kingdom of heaven is like. And that's what I saw at the Wild Goose.
All right. Howdy from the Goose 2021. This is my 4th time to be here, and you know that we did beer and hymns, we got in the water, we ate a lot of good food, and I'm taking home that your personal relationship with Jesus doesn't mean much if it doesn't include the collective salvation of all people. Love ya.
Hi, this is Keith. Now, Keith from Goose. Been here for 3 days. It's been phenomenal. And as you can see from the background, it's close to a river that's beautiful. Acreage is something that kind of takes you back to nature. And along with that, a lot of talented people that kind of take you into a new dimension that, as I use the term, euphoria, because of some of the things that you feel during the sessions and the cerebral type of conversation that goes on during and afterwards. So if you ever get the chance to either come to Hot Springs, North Carolina, and the Wild Goose, I highly recommend it. It's been an experience that I'll remember for a long, long time, and like to share when we get back to Evergreen. Hope you have a good one. Bye.